Hello, guys. Welcome to Dentro's regular update on what's going on in the AI world. Today I'm joined with Paul, as always. Hi, Paul. How are you doing?
Hi, Paul. I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good. Thank you. I'm looking forward. What do you have today?
Yes, I'll start with my topic. I brought today something that is kind of more on the theoretical side. So I don't have anything specific to show, but I feel like it's a topic that I want to talk about for the reason that I believe everyone should have at least heard of it. It's
Mm-hmm.
about artificial general intelligence, or AGI in short. You've probably heard
Mm-hmm.
about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's like imagine all these AI developments that we currently see, and this is kind of the next level on top of this. So there's not really a definition of what AGI is in exactly. So there's supposing ways of how to think on AGI, but something that has is quite commonly accepted is the definition of it can do basically anything that humans can do and possibly things that are even above what humans can do. This includes, for example, reasoning, making judgments when it's in uncertain situations, plan, learn, and especially it can freely combine different things together in order to solve a problem. Like when I think about AGI, I have this analogy of imagine you have a task and you would give this task to a human instead of a machine. So, and then imagine like you have a reason why you give it to a human because you expect a different, possibly better outcome from the human. And now imagine AGI is basically closing this delta and you can give the task just as well to a machine.
But what's the difference now to just using large language models such as ChatGPT? If I give this task to ChatGPT, it does it much quicker than if I would give it to my colleague, no?
Well, it depends on the task, right? If it's a
Right.
task that's super easy to like write me a poem, which is not
Well,
super
it's
easy,
not super
but
easy.
it's like, but still, for in terms of AI, it's a rather easy task because it's like a clear structured task by itself, and it's nothing where the AI needs to think for itself too much. It's not like something where you say like I want to invent a business that does this and this, which is also probably there's more sophisticated tasks than this, but this is already a task where the AI needs to reason, needs to think, needs to plan, make a way, outweigh different scenarios. So that's much more complicated and complex. And especially then when it comes to really like deep scientific fields like healthcare or space travel or things like this. And this is where current AI solutions are not really perfect yet for it, especially to act autonomously on these areas. And that's kind of the biggest difference that in the current AI field, you need to specify the task, you need to kind of specify a route, and then you can get pretty impressive results. And AGI is kind of the next step to that, um, which can do all of these things autonomously.
For me,
And
the difference is that currently most of those models, the AI models, they are trained on existing data and existing things. And when you ask for example, ChatGPT, yeah, the example of the poem, write a poem, then it will draw from all the knowledge, from all the data it was trained on to write a new poem.
mhm,
It's like throwing a stone into a pond. It goes down, and the circles, the water circles, they um, how
expand.
do you say,
Mhm.
expand, they cool. It never happened to me up until now that a stone was thrown out of the pond towards me.
Mhm.
And it's a bit the same here. Like you introduce an action, and there is a response which is similar to what we've already seen, and there is nothing really new and also by itself, like proactively new ideas. This is what I would define AGI.
Yes, kind of. I think the new ideas are an important part of this, but also this like combining a vast amount of different information and making judgment based on this information, and
Mm-hmm.
also um, making. I think this is especially cool that it can. like judge in uncertain situations. Like a human, you don't know. You have a couple of theories, you have a couple of possibilities, and you're not quite sure which one is the 100% correct solution. But you choose one based on different aspects. Like a human makes
Mm-hmm.
decisions,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like this
True.
is something that's, if you want to do thing, want that a machine does something autonomously, this is kind of a skill that's really not only useful but quite essential. Um, yes. Anyway, AGI right now is like a theoretical concept still, and even experts are still debating whether it's ever going to exist in real life or not. Also, experts are debating what kind of level or what kind of tests does an AI need to pass in order to have like reached AGI level.
True.
Um, I still think like it's something, a concept that even if it's not like super relevant for, especially for the real world, like for businesses, for example, at the moment, but I think it's an important concept to have heard of because all the big companies, such as OpenAI and other big research
Mm-hmm.
companies, they're very active in the AGI field. And we hear different estimations, and obviously all these estimations are just this, they are estimations. But yes, we will see whether it be, for example, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, estimated that it will happen within the next years,
Mm-hmm.
possibly
Mm-hmm.
in less than
Mm-hmm.
10 years. They think they will reach AGI level and probably earlier. Um, so we will see. So it could be reality very soon. Um, and yeah, so this is why I think it's quite important to have heard at least of the concept because I think it will pop up here and there much more often in the future.
Artificial general intelligence. Awesome.
Exactly, or AGI for short. Yes.
You
So that's
great.
kind of my part.
Awesome.
What have you prepared?
I wanted to talk about privacy when using large language models such as
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT because either you value privacy like me or you value privacy when the law tells you to do so. For
Mm-hmm.
example, in the business, in Europe, GDPR. And I just wanted to show you different ways of doing so. You can see yourself in the screen, right?
I can see myself multiple times. Yes.
Awesome. So the first thing is, for example, if you use ChatGPT,
Mm-hmm.
typically everything gets stored so you can go back to your previous conversations.
Mm-hmm.
However, this allows OpenAI to use your data to train their new models. And this can be bad because there was an open source model where 8% of the learned data was able to be retrieved via interacting with it later. So you
Mm-hmm.
could ask something like a certain name of a person and it would pop up the birth date and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
So to make sure that this never happens, you go to settings, beta, and to data controls, and then you just here, chat history and training, you disable it.
Do
Now,
you? Sorry.
yeah,
Do you?
the only downside is that once you close the site, you cannot see your old chats.
Do you know if this is only possible with the plus version of ChatGPT or if this is also possible with the free version?
This is for sure also possible with the free version, although I
Okay.
didn't try it, but I would be very disappointed if not there.
Okay.
Yes. Another way to make sure that in this case OpenAI cannot use your data for training is to use their API because when the API is used, they don't use it for training.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't do this what we used last week. You can use the playground where you just add your messages like this here. Hello, how are you doing? The problem is, well, it's not the best interface for everyday usage. You could also use another service, for example, such as UI. Here I found a ChatGPT Web UI, which is open source. You see all the Chinese
Mm-hmm.
signs, but it's also in English. Actually, this special one, it's very popular with 28K stars. You can deploy. I think I have the wrong one. I just realized, no, this is not the right one. Um, I opened a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, let me.
You
This
closed
was
down
one.
the wrong one.
I
Okay.
I I opened the wrong GitHub repository, but this is the final result. Just the
Mm-hmm.
idea of having a interface which you host on your own, and you use the API in the background. If we here go, I don't know, just start,
Mm-hmm.
and then we write something, hello, I am fine, and we send it around, then probably here it asks me to add my OpenAI key, right? I could go here, I would add my OpenAI API key, and then
Mm-hmm.
later on I can just use it as I would use ChatGPT without them being able to use it for training.
And do I need to and like I could use this like in my private setting, and do I need to enter my API key every time I start a new conversation, or?
No, definitely not. No, I here I opened a new page for the video,
Uh-huh.
but I was using it the last days, and it stores everything. It's a very good user experience. You can host it on the web, or you can, if you're a developer, you can run it on your own machine and
Oh, that's
use
cool.
it
So
there.
you have total control about the hosting basically, and
Exactly.
as you're using the API GPT, you also have control over your data because it's not used for training purposes, right?
Absolutely. And this is just one example of an open source interface to use the OpenAI API. There are a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
I checked out 10 yesterday, I think. What you told me, right, is that you can sign, in the case of OpenAI, you can sign with OpenAI a data what agreement?
Data
Something
processing agreement,
data
data
processing agreement.
processing.
And
Yes.
what does this do?
It's basically kind of a legal, basic legal document that OpenAI processes some kind of your internal data. Because in order to, even if they don't use the data for training purposes, they still have to do something with the data to give you your result, right? And
Yeah, right.
usually they do these calculations on their service. So you kind of need to have an agree, especially if you're acting as a business and not an end consumer, you need kind of a legal framework for them to deal with your data. And this is basically what a data processing
All
agreement
right.
is.
And the advantage for businesses is that,
In a productive uh, in productive area, there's not much difference. It's just a legal framework. Um,
perfect. Mhm.
that's it.
Mhm.
It's like when you click I accept the terms and conditions before you send a form online.
All right. Perfect. Yeah,
Hmm.
what you can, if you want to use the ChatGPT, I feel like we're heavily on OpenAI models today
Hmm.
because, well, that's what these are the strongest one. What you can also use is for, of course, the enterprise version of ChatGPT. The thing is that it's not so easy to get in, as we heard recently. But there you can then use the typical ChatGPT interface where the updates come the quickest, and you also can be sure that they don't use your data for anything that shouldn't be used.
Hmm.
A final thing, or two final things actually. One, it would be to host your own open source model. This is technically a bit, it's not that easy, but it definitely works. You just have to pay the server costs and the GPU costs. I won't go into this, but into a different, very cool idea, which I have from Francisco, who is working closely with LangChain. It's about replacing data that identifies a person, personally identifiable information, and replaces it. And there are in the LangChain library ready-made package, the Presidio Anonymizer, where a project from Microsoft is used. It's called
Hmm.
Microsoft Presidio, which identifies which part in a message identifies a person. This could be a name, a phone number, an email address, just a physical address. Then it's under the hood, it's identified and then replaced with something else.
Hmm.
This is, if we check it out here, it works like my name is Paul. I live at 111111 Automatic Street. I don't know. And my email is hello at. Do we have Dentro Innovation? Hello? No, right?
Now we have Office app.
All right. We have Office at. And now if I run it, the output is it replaces all the identifiable information. Hey, my name is Jimmy Butler. I live at 1111 Automatic
Oh,
Street. Look at this. He didn't
this it
replace
didn't
it.
replace.
Yeah. Wow.
But his
That's
address is considered
yeah. I
like
thought it
sensitive
would.
information, right?
I would consider it. No.
Try again. And
Okay.
now,
Now maybe automatic didn't seem like a street.
mhm.
And yeah, so this is one way. Like before you send it to a large language
Mhm.
model, you locally run this, and then it's replaced everything. The problem, of course, is if you need the actual name, the actual address to process it somehow, it doesn't work so well. What you can use
Yes.
there for is another tool called opaque prompts, which is also was mentioned in the article. Very great article. I love it. And I didn't look it up before.
The
The
latest one.
idea, the which one?
The back opaque question types prompts.
I think it
Close
was
to
something
it.
like that. Could it be? Yeah, these guys exactly. Um,
Mhm.
what they do is that here we have it. Here we have the link. Look, a real let's play. No,
Yeah.
what they do is that similar as we just saw with Microsoft Presidio, that they find out which are the personal identifiable information, then they replace it, send it to a large language model. The large language model sends it back, and then they reverse it and replace the correct values again. So if I would use this service, which I don't have access yet to, but the idea is a good idea, is that when I get back a message from the LLM, that would be written, "My name is Paul. I live at Queens Road 111," without OpenAI or whichever service it is ever knowing my real name.
And without the user ever noticing that the
The
real
difference.
name is like hidden from the LLM.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hmm. Amazing.
Yeah,
Really
this
cool.
is this is. I think we will see more of this in the future.
But the cool
And
thing is that if you use this self-hosted UI that you showed with in
yeah,
connection with the API connection, you could also you have the possibility to also use these kind of tools to hide your sensitive data, right? You have much more possibilities to like individualize the experience.
of course, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So if
Mhm.
you as a
Cool.
business want to use it, then this probably makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Really interesting.
Yeah, cool. No, this is how you can protect yourself a little bit because everybody knows the situation. You wanna process some data which actually shouldn't be out there, maybe in the internet, and you wanna process it, but then you don't want it, and
Hmm.
many people then still upload it, right? Some people
Yes.
don't.
Obviously, because you still want to make use of the advantages that the LLM brings you.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Cool. That was it from my side. Thanks for talking with me about AGI and privacy.
Thank you for your topics. Really interesting. And we see each other next week with two new topics, right?
Awesome. Let's do it. See you, Paul.
Bye,
Bye
Paul.
bye.
Good.